Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm a guy called Joe. This is Bootstrapping Tools Let's Build, where we help scrappy bootstrappers just like yourself figure out how to overcome some of the hurdles that they're facing or just to get better and make themselves more efficient every day. Now, before we dive into today's topic, make sure to check out our YouTube channel. We got lots of videos up there that go through all sorts of different low code and no code solutions out there, including Retool, Google Sheets, Google Apps Scripts, Data Studio, walk through many different APIs as well. And today we're going to be talking about Monday.com. Now, we're going to talk about setting up and exploring the Monday.com API. If you don't know what Monday.com is, it's essentially a task management tool. It's one of the newer ones that has a lot of technology backing it right now. So it uses a GraphQL API, which is really cool. That means you don't need to worry so much about all the different endpoints. You have to worry about writing your queries to either get information or to modify existing data. So it also goes through a lot of different integrations as well, which with Gmail or Slack or any other, there's so many out there that they also have the Zapier app as well that you can easily set up some of your integrations. But enough of that talk. Monday.com is a great application. It's a nice tool that you can use in your everyday work, whether it's your own startup, your own company, or within your existing company right now. I guarantee that it will be a net positive for whatever that you're doing. Let's go ahead and dive into Monday.com and we'll start setting you up with your API key and making your first queries. All right, so on the screen here, we have a brand new Monday.com account open up here. I use one of the templates for IT requests just to populate it with some sample data. If you don't have a Monday.com account, it's really easy to set up. Just go ahead and sign up on Monday.com. Literally, it's just Monday.com. You go there, sign up. They're going to give you a free trial of the pro plan just to let you play around with all the different integrations and automations that they have. And then if you choose to continue, you can either pay for an account or you can just create an individual account, which is the one that I have right now. It limits you to like 2 users and then a certain number of items, but nonetheless, it's going to let you do what you need to do. And then if you ever do want to pay for it, that's going to be up to you. For us, we're just going to be using the free account. So everything you see here today is available through a free account on Monday.com. So for you to access the API, there are a couple of different ways that you can do that. The first way is on the bottom over here where your little avatar is. For me, it's just JL for my initials. When you click on that, you're going to see an option for admin. So you're just going to click on that admin option over here. And that's going to update the screen so that you can see all the information. And then on the little menu bar here, you're going to see API. When you click on that, it's going to update this on the side over here. You're going to get your personal API token that you can regenerate if you need to, but you can copy that and utilize it. Now, the other way to access the your API token is actually going over to developers. So going back down to your little avatar icon on the bottom left, clicking on that, and then scrolling up to where it says developers in the options. So we clicked on admin before, but we're going to click on developers this time. When you click on developers, it's going to take you over to essentially your apps. And I created an app. You don't need to create an app for this. What you actually do need to do to access your API key is go over to the developer option up on the little menu bar up here. Click on that and you're going to be able to say my access tokens. When you click on that, it's going to give you all the tokens that you have, which is really just one, and that's the Graphiql API token. And it's personal to you, so make sure you don't share it with anybody. You click to show it, and then you can copy that and utilize it wherever you need. Now, that's how you get your API tokens. But let's show you how you're actually going to interact with the API. So it's a GraphQL based, and what Monday.com, which is a really cool feature, you click on developer, you're going to see API Playground. When you click on that, it's going to open up their Graphiql interface. Graphiql, it's just a little bit of a UI that lets you play around with Graphiql queries, which is a really big help for when you're trying to figure out what your queries need to look like in order to hit the API and get the data back that you want. So there's already one pre-made one that we can use. So let's go ahead and hit the preview button over here, which is the play button, and we'll see that board is limited to 1, so we only get 1 board back, and that's the IT request one. We're getting the ID, the name of the columns and everything that are in there. You can also collapse certain groups here. You can see all the different groups and all the items. So within each one, I don't really care about all this other stuff, so we can actually get rid of all of this. And the way that you write GraphQL queries, you essentially just tell it what scope that you want to search for data in, and then you tell it what items you want to see within it. So on the over here on the right hand side, you're going to see some documentation that you can actually click. So in order to open this, there's a little docs thing up top over on the upper right. Click on that. It's going to pop out a little tray. And you can see all the different types of queries that you can make against this API, which is super helpful when you're deciding what you can or cannot do. So we're going to focus on boards this time around. You can see that within it, you can pass a couple of different arguments. Right now we're passing limit, right? Limit 1, but if we did limit 2 over here and then we hit run, now instead of just getting the IT request one, we also get the search from scratch one. We only have 2 boards, so that's all you're going to see. But if we wanted to say something like IDs or board kind of, we can do something like that. Let's go ahead and say, copy this board ID, and then we can say comma ID equals that. And essentially hit the play button. Wait, not ID, it's going to be IDs with an S. And I think we have to put this in an array. Send that over. Okay, perfect. So now we're getting the board back IT request, and if we collapse that, we're still only getting 1, even though the limit was 2. And in the previous query, we saw that there were 2 boards that were available. So that's a very basic level how you're going to actually operate the graphical interface over here. I also don't need the information about myself, so we can remove that. Hit play. You're going to see all the information that you need, column values and all of that. You can really just play around with it. So if we type into if we click into the type over here, essentially go back. So that's up over here, the type. It says board. When you click on that, it's going to give you all the different things that you can get within that board scope. So you can see we have items. And then when we scroll down to items over here and we click on that, we'll be able to see that within the individual item, we have a certain number of things, and we're already pulling the name, the group, and the column values. So the group is over here, and then within group, there's an ID that you can get, and then the column values, you're gonna see you can get all of this stuff. So if we wanted to say, instead of ID value and text, we want to also put in type. So it's a nice little autocomplete that will drop down for you. And we also have additional info. So let's put that in as well and see what we get back. Which additional info is null, which is fine. And then the type is long text, pulse log, color, and all, and so on and so forth. But that's essentially how you're going to mess around with the graphical interface here. Next up, we're going to show you how to actually hit the API using Google Apps Scripts, just in case you want to use some of this information within a Google Sheet. Okay, so up on the screen over here, we have some of the documentation available by Monday.com that talks about making your first request, the authentication type and all that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new script using Google Apps Scripts, and we're just going to hit the API real easy just to get back some information. So the authorization is just regular authorization using the API key that you have. Just like we showed in the beginning of the video, you can get it in 2 different ways, either through your admin page or through your developer account using My Access tokens. So going over to our new app script, we just created a brand new one. We got my function here. We're going to rename this to Request Monday. And then within here, we're going to create a new variable called base URL. And this is going to be the monday.com URL that we need. So going back into the documentation, clicking on make your first request, scrolling down, we're going to see over here that the base URL is https api.monday.com/v2. So we're going to place that right in here. Make sure that it's within your quotations. And then we're going to set the API key to our API. I actually set it to a separate library. And you can do this yourself as well. I can show you how in another video. But what you essentially do is you create a totally different app script, and then you make that an API executable. So within there, I have my API key stored just for security. And anybody else, like, this is a really good practice, especially if you're using a lot of Google Apps Scripts. It's really nice to create a secrets file. and just store all of your API keys or anything that's like case sensitive in there. And then because you're also probably likely going to share it across a bunch of different scripts, so put it in one file and then use that file as a library that you attach to everything else that you want to use. And you can do the same thing with code that you don't want to keep writing or pasting into new scripts. Okay, so now we have the base URL, we have the API key. We're going to create a query now, and that query is essentially just going to be a really basic one. We actually have, I think, one in here that we can use, this one. So this is boards limit 1, and it's just getting the ID and the name. So I'm going to take that, place it in here, but before we end this, we need to actually prepend this with query. And I'm gonna show you why just in a little bit, but it has to do with how you're making a GraphQL request to the API. So we have that. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create the headers and the options like we normally do for another API account, for any API account. So headers is going to be authorization, and that's going to be API key. Okay, and then content type, application JSON. Now we're going to do options, and the headers is going to equal to the headers. The method is going to be equal to post, because it's a GraphQL request, so you have to post it over, and we're going to post that query as a payload. So also we're going to add in payload here, and that's going to be JSON.stringify, and that's going to be query to query. All right, so that looks pretty good right now. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to do var response. We're going to declare the response, and then we're going to use the library provided by Google Apps Scripts, the URL fetch app.fetch, and then we're going to paste in the base URL as well as our options. And then we're going to take that, we're going to get content text out of it. Now we're going to make sure that we also parse that JSON. Don't forget to do that. So json.parse and then response. And let's go ahead and just console log this so that you can see the results of our API query here. Oh, we got a little issue, line 14. Oh, we forgot a comma. Always make sure to check. All right, so we saved all of this. Let's go ahead and run it. And so let's see. So we got data back, boards. This is within an object, and then it tells us the account ID. So let's go ahead and do result.data just so you can see what's within that object. So boom, we just have ID and we have name, and that's the IT request. If we wanted to do something a little bit more sophisticated, like what we're doing over here, let's go ahead and actually copy this. One really good way to use GraphQL queries within code like this, you might be thinking like, oh, if I use the quotations, everything's gonna actually error out. So that's okay. What we're gonna use is we're gonna use the tick symbol that's located to the left of your one, the number one, the numerical one button on your keyboard. It's also has a squiggly line on the top, which is an Enya. So you just put the little tick, right? That's going to create these little, I guess, ticks. I don't know how else to call them. They're ticks. But then you paste in your query over here, and then it's going to register all of it as one thing together. So when we run this, what we should expect to happen is that we should get the same exact type of output that we got over here. So zoom back out, save this, and then let's run it and see what we get back. So items has an object in there. So let's go ahead and just take just give us back what are within the items. Oh, hold up, is it item or items? Hold up. So you have to do boards. So this is really great when you actually come back to your data set here. So you actually need to go to data and then boards, get the first version of that. So let's go back into our code. So data.boards 0. let's see what we're getting back there. All right, look at that. So getting information back exactly like we expected from the Graphiql interface. And so when you're doing development against the Monday.com API, it's going to be really important for you to use Graphiql, use it. It's a great tool that you should leverage in order to make sure that you're writing the right queries and that you're also accessing the right data. It's going to look a lot better here, I promise you. It's going to look a lot better here than it does in your little console logs over here, even though your console log is really important for debugging your code. But that's it for this video. If you did run into any issues, feel free to drop a comment in the section below. We're always here to help, so don't be shy. If you're having an issue, most likely another scrappy bootstrappers just like yourself are having an issue just as well. But of course, if you did like this video, make sure to hit that like button. It's the best way to support this channel and ensure that we can continue to make content for you. Speaking of content, we got lots of content coming up, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and also the bell so that you get notified when we release the next video. But that's it for this video. I'm a guy called Joe. This is Bootstrapping Tools. Let's build. It's been a pleasure, and we're out.